brief. Brief's not my strong point. You can add that in as an ad lib at the end.
This is going to take forever to edit.
Oh yes, forever.
Hi, welcome to the Final Four here down in Columbia, Missouri. We've had just an incredible day of basketball here. It started at noon with Scott County Central. But, Rachel, the game of the night, the game of the entire day,
So far, yeah.
Charleston. Charleston holds on and finds a way to beat
Yes.
Mount Vernon. What stood out to you most about that game?
Well, I think we all know Greg Tucker is the superstar or whatever, but one of the best players in South Missouri, if not the best player in Southeast Missouri. But he wasn't making his shot all day today, and not all day, but most of the day today. And he was absolutely relentless on defense. I mean, I don't get to watch him play every day, but I was just so impressed how every single possession he probably, I don't know how many steals he ended up with, but a lot, and he forced a lot more turnovers, just pure aggression all the time. And obviously the big thing is Krishan Scott makes 2 free throws with 4 seconds left to give them the 58-56 win. It's crazy come from behind. I don't think Charleston led very long in that whole game, but they found a way at the end.
The thing that stood out to me about that game was they kept trailing, but you just had that sense that Charleston was going to make a run. And finally, toward the end, they were able to get a couple steals. They got a couple stops. The offense looked great in the fourth quarter. They just had to get those stops, and finally they did.
And that's the thing about Mount Vernon. You want to say I think we have to say like tip your hat to them, but really they earned it because they had an answer. I remember at one point Michael Hull, I think it was, hit a 3 to tie the game for Charleston in the fourth quarter, and then bam, right on the other end, Mount Vernon hit a 3. Right. So they held them off as long as they could and over and over again, but right at the end there, Charleston got them.
There definitely was a sense of relief. You could sense it as the Charleston players were coming off the court. There were a lot of hugs there. The Charleston fans down here were going crazy. It was a really exciting win, and it was really neat to see the emotion of reaching that state title game.
Yeah, well, they kind of went through the ringer there. I mean, for a second, it looked like Mount Vernon had taken the lead with just a second left. They actually made a shot, but the foul had been called already, and Krishan had already been fouled. But no one in the audience knew that because you didn't hear the whistle because it was so loud in there. So he knew it. Krishan, I talked to him. He said he knew it was already going to be fouled. But for the fans in the stands especially, and for a lot of the other players who may or may not have heard the foul call, I mean, it went from looking like they were in a tough game to looking like they were going to lose to having a chance to win to winning all in about 5 minutes. So that'll kind of put some fans and the team through the ringer like that.
Absolutely. The first game, Rachel, today was Scott County Central. They looked awfully sharp against Glasgow. What was it that kind of stood out to you? What surprised you most about that game?
Well, I think I don't guess it's not a surprise, but I think what stands out to me is Scott County Central did what Scott County Central does.
Right.
And the fact that they're able to come up here again this year and just do what they do. You know, Glasgow's not able to bother them at all, wasn't able to get them out of their game at all. I don't even know that they tried to get them out of the game. I suppose they did. But, for their team, that's how they want to play. And when they can play like that, they're going to beat you by 30. And that's exactly what they did. And so, we talk about that. We act like it's so just a given. But it's not that easy to come out and play like that every day. Or to be able to play like that, for your opponent, to force your opponent to play like that. And they did. And that's, they're headed back to the state championship game for a 4th year in a row.
I was really impressed with Scott County Central's defense today. I thought that they just forced Glasgow to try to beat their press, and they couldn't do it. There were 3 different times that Glasgow was called for 10-second violations. Their coach in the post-game press conference said that he prefers a 10-second count to just turning it over for an easy layup. I just thought that their defense, forcing 27 turnovers today, was pretty incredible. And you're right, they did what they do, and now they're going to play again for the state title, and they really earned it today.
Right, and I think they'll be I watched Drexel today. I think they're a favorite. Doesn't mean they can't lose, but I think they're in another good position to win. They put themselves in a good position to win a state title, and what more can you really ask for than that?
Absolutely. The third game involving Semoball schools today was Hayti. Rachel, you headed over to the Mizzou Arena. The other 2 games were here in the Hearn Center. What was it about the Hayti game that really stood out?
The Hayti game, it was a close game throughout the first half. I thought you could kind of feel that Billings wasn't shooting very well. They were getting some pretty good looks that weren't going in. On the other hand, Hayti was hanging with them. It was a 1-point game at halftime, but second half, Billings really pulled away. I don't know if some of those shots started falling or what it was, because it really looked like they came out with the second win, and that's exactly what Hayti coach said after the game. Because toward the end of the first half, it looked like Billings was a little tired, a little dejected. That Hayti had momentum, but credit to Billings, they came out and switched that around, made the shots, and Hayti just couldn't hang with them there at the end. So I think I forgot I can't remember the final. It was about a 20-point game at the end. So, they'll play for third tomorrow.
Rachel, when you look at today, the three games, three pretty solid games. They were a lot of fun to watch. What is the one thing that stands out in your mind, the one image from today that really sticks out?
The one image is going to be Krishan Scott at the free throw line, just as cool and calm as can be. I mean, I looked it up. He shot 55% from the free throw line this year, and you would have never, ever, ever known it by looking at him as he was coming. They called a timeout before those free throws, so he had time to think about it, and he walked out there just as cool and calm as can be, and made it look easy, and so that's going to stick with me for a long time. Every time I see him in the future, it's gonna come back to my mind. So, has to be one of the better days that he'll have in a while. I'd say.
Obviously, the celebration for Charleston stood out for me, but since you went with Charleston, I'll go with the Scott County Central
right.
game. The one that stood out to me, and I wrote about it in the story for Friday Southeast Missourian, was there was at one point where Glasgow turned the ball over, and it was on an errant pass, and one of the Glasgow kids had dived for the ball, and he was laying on the court and he was talking to himself, just kind of mumbling. It was in the third quarter, and that's what Scott County Central's defense does to you. It leaves you kind of mumbling and wondering what the heck is going on.
That's cool. I didn't see that, so that's cool. That's very cool.
It was a neat moment. And that's going to do it for us here at the Hearn Center in Columbia, Missouri. Please, on Friday, join Rachel. She'll be doing Cover It Live for the Hayti game, and on Saturday for the two state title games, one involving Charleston and then one involving Scott County Central. So make sure to come to Semoball.com. Cover It Live with Rachel. She'll keep you updated on what's going on. Join the discussion. She's great at it. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.
That was long. It was not short.
It wasn't bad.